me get reset up here. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I need a stand. Hold on, guys. We had some technical difficulty for a second. Hold on one moment. Let me Okay, that looks about right. Okay. Give me just 1 minute. We're almost there, and then we're going to get one of our special guests online. Let me see. I don't think anybody can hear me. Can anybody hear me? Nope. Okay, hold on just a second. Let me plug in the microphone. Hold on 1 second. All right, it looks like it's working. Okay. Okay. All right, well, welcome to the live stream. We're here to talk about Jenks Lake. If anybody doesn't know where Jenks Lake is, it's in the San Bernardino Mountains off Highway 38 in California. It's something I've been going to since I was a child. My wife's sitting next to me watching me do this just to make sure I don't have any technical difficulties going on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call my first guest on the phone. His name's Bob. Bob has been working at Jenks Lake since, oh God, forever and a day. He is the one who originally talked to us about how bad the lake level was getting. And then in August of last year, we went up for a fishing trip, just a day trip. And, my wife and I looked at each other and went, oh my God, what the hell's happening to the lake? And what we ended up finding out from Bob was that the inlet is broken where it's not feeding the lake. So that really sucks. So the lake level is really low. If you looked at my Facebook posts that I put out to almost every group out there, you'll see that yesterday Bob sent me some pictures. There's some snow on the ground. Obviously it looks cold, but at the same time, the water level looks so much lower than it did in August. So that gives you everything. So I'm going to get him on the phone here. He's expecting me to call him, and then we'll talk about it. And then if you guys have any questions or anything, send them through the chat. I'm actually on the computer looking at the chat. So let's see if we can get a hold of him real quick. There's Bob. Hey, Bob, it's John.
Oh, hi.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I forgot about it. My friend and I, we were just sitting here playing some music, playing some guitar and bass. And but I heard my phone, so.
Okay. Yes. Well, hold on just a second. Let me double check and make sure we got good sound. So hold on one moment.
Okay. I got this for you. This is Jenks Lake. It's doing a live feed thing. I'm just going to talk a little bit. Camera? Good. I do believe so.
Okay, here we go. All right. So it looks like we have pretty good sound for it. So anyway, I'm going to leave the floor to you if you want to talk a little bit about the lake and what basically needs to be done. and what's being done from your perspective?
Well, okay. The what is being done is it's drying up quickly. There's a water source from the South Fork up above Poop Out Hill. There's plenty of water, and there was all summer last summer. But there's a 3.5 mile flume that feeds it, and with a crew of about 20 people, we were able to get it so far, half a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile. There's a lot of restrictions for going in and working on it and getting the manpower to do it. It's a lot more, broken up than it was in the past because of the fires and mudslides and things. So there's a lot of extra erosion in that. It's a major job. So, getting it filled up.
Yeah, because
just for fire safety is, really a big deal up here. They dip there when the helicopters and the fire, the small fires around all these campgrounds break out quite a bit, and they come and dip at the lake. If that's not there, I don't know. I worry about some of the small fires may become larger ones. But there's a lot of red tape, and between the water right people who own the water and the Forest Service, and there's a lot of restrictions put on everybody. So, and there's no funds to do it properly, to get a big crew, and then you have to get permission, which is not easy to even work on it. So, hopefully we're working on it from different angles. The company I work for is working on it through the Forest Service, trying to make it happen. It's just something that's not easy at all.
No, it really isn't. And, you and I had the discussion a couple days ago, if I remember right, that, what I'm basically doing with this fundraiser that I've been doing is just basically try to get some awareness out there and get some supplies to some of the volunteers that can actually do it. But like you and I were talking about, I mean, to do it properly, you need funds of probably close to $500,000 just to be able to do it properly and rebuild a new flume or a new inlet for it.
I believe they did that in the 60s is the last time they had a major maintenance work on it. And that lasted for a lot of years. But it's the forest, things, there's a lot of erosion and dirt and debris and fallen trees, and especially after the fires, that it could be totally enclosed if done properly. So you wouldn't have to worry about it anymore.
No, and what's interesting is that I've been going up there since I was, God, less than my daughter's age, and like you and I discussed, it was kind of a cool thing that the water level was a little down to get some of the algae and the weeds out of there and stuff to make fishing easier. But obviously there hasn't been too much progress, because like the pictures you sent me yesterday, it was like, holy cow, man, that thing looks like it's hurting big time.
Oh, I'm certain you could walk across it. So, I'm certain that somehow or another it will be fixed again. It's been there since 1870s, and so it's a historical site. And everybody who lives up here, everybody loves it.
Oh, it's great.
Yourself, the locals up here, they come up here. It's a very peaceful, nice place to be. And, and for fires, locals really want it for fires too, because, their homes are up here. I live up here. So.
Well, you also got the wildlife up there that depends on that lake too. And then you have some of the churches that, have their retreats up there. And I may have been annoyed by
site over there that's owned by Barton Flat Society.
Yep.
And they let the various camps, lease it out, or whatever deal they have with them to go over and use that. And there's a lot of canoes for the kids.
Oh yeah, I may have been annoyed by it when I'm on my float tube out there or out in the middle of the raft, right. But at the end of the day, it's a community lake, and like you had said, the fire thing is what's interesting. I've been there on a float tube when a helicopter was trying to drop down to pick up and bucket water to dump during a fire up in the area. And if you actually look at it, it's one of the only lakes in the area, or one of the only bodies of water in the area that they can actually get down to for part of that area.
It is, and they do it quite frequently. And usually they call me first, and I go down and make sure the lake is all cleared. I don't know where I was, or if it was...
Nobody was around. That was a long time ago. I was probably 15, 16 years old, so that's got to be 20, 21 years ago.
The fire department calls me when the helicopters are coming in, and I got to go clear the lakes off and get everybody off the pier, and so they can get in there and do their job.
Yeah. No, and the other thing that I want to cover is, like, you know, the DFG hasn't planted any trout in there since COVID, especially after all the trout were euthanized, you know, from all the bacteria infection that they got. And obviously this year, because of the way the lake's down, they're probably not going to put any trout in the lake at all. I would be surprised if any of the bass or crappie live through that shallow water.
I don't know if there's any crappie in there, is there?
Yeah, there's crappie in there.
There's bluegill, there's catfish, you know, the trout that they stock in there. When the flume's running, occasionally you get some of the native browns in there too.
Yeah, no, they
have no way to get there now.
No, they have no way to do anything.
I haven't even seen any bluegill or little bass or anything. You know, I mean, the population may be wiped out, but
God,
at this point, it's so close to being down. It's going to go down all the way, you know, and I start work in April. So I'll be up there full time. I'm going to try to get my company to, you know, I mean, what am I going to do? I'm not going to be running a fishing lake. I'm going to be cleaning it out, you know, using a truck hauling all the debris out there. And, you know, I'm the optimist. You know, I'm going to get it pristine and cleaned out and ready for water whenever it happens.
Well, I'm just trying to make sure that with everything that it doesn't get. I talked to you about this earlier, you know, probably a month or two ago when we were talking on Messenger, and I said, you know, I just don't want this lake to just go by the wayside. There's another lake out there actually that called Crystal Lake that's being kind of ignored as well. And it's like, you know, they don't.
The Azusa Canyon, San Gabriel Mountains.
Yep.
Yeah, I used to spend time there when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's starting to go down as well.
So I don't know if that's not man-made though. I believe that may be due to the drought. Yeah,
well, they do have from what I've been told, it's something man-made that they're doing that's causing the lake not to fill naturally. But I haven't looked too much into it yet. That's actually my next project next month.
Yeah, this is a man-made lake, and the water source, even in summertime when there was no water in the lake, not even close. I mean, there was plenty of water past the diverter, you know, and then there's a flume. It's quite an elaborate, you know, deal, and it's hard work hiking back with the tools and sandbags, and you know, it's you know, I'd like to have 20 hot shots for a week.
Oh, I'd love to take them up there too. Tough. Yeah.
Those guys, and I think for fire purposes, the fire department should look into allocating 20 hot shots for a week. They'd love it. It'd be exercise to them. Me, I wouldn't be able to keep up, you know, but I mean, that might take care of it.
Well, I know what because my youngest brother, Michael, I don't know if he's watching or not, but he's interesting because he told me that, you know, he'll donate time with his bobcat if that's what's necessary.
You can't get one back there.
I know, that's what I told him.
It's climbing with shovels and you know, handwork. I don't know. Maybe there's a way to get something back there, but not a bobcat or something like that. You wouldn't be able to use it much.
No. But you know, it's just the offer was good because he you know, we all used to that lake and love that lake. So it's you know, for me and my family, it's actually the first place that my daughters actually physically caught a fish.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that a couple years ago, because I don't know if remember what's coming up there.
That big raft.
Yeah, the big raft, and my daughter Brenda caught a catfish, probably a 2-3 pound bullhead out of there. And
Right.
yeah, so it even popped a little hole in our raft that I had to end up patching. And yeah, that was an adventure in
I remember
itself.
that.
Yeah.
So
So, but yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
and I've lived up there, or we've lived up there, for 10 years. It's our yard. It's
yep.
beautiful. We have a special affection for that lake.
No, it's beautiful. So, well, I'll let you go, Bob, unless you want to add it, unless you got anything else to add, because I know you're probably out shooting some pool.
No, I was playing music.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, Eric, who works for the Forest Service up here too. I brought him in. He's my bass player. And Stephanie, my girlfriend, she plays drums. Electric cajon. And I have a whole bunch of guitars, and we just jam.
How
we have our own
cool.
little parties up here in the woods where nobody's at.
Boy, isn't that great? Nobody complained about you making noise.
I know. And nothing thrown at us or anything like that either. It's awesome.
No, it is. Yeah, nobody throwing glass beers or tomatoes at you, right?
Yeah, tomatoes are okay if you can catch them.
Yeah, there you go.
If you catch them, they become ketchup. Yes, that's how ketchup is born. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Oh, here you go. I got a guy. Here's a guy. Guy says, could hand crews. Hold on just a second. I actually got a question here from somebody in the audience. Hold on. Could the hand crews from the local prison CDF camps be brought in to assist on this possibly?
I mean, yes, but there's a lot of red tape just involving the Forest Service to allow you to go up to work on it for something, an organized unit going up there. So there's, you'd have to okay it with everybody, which is not always easy.
No, just like we talked about the other day, that Stephanie had to take down the fundraiser off the Jenks Lake Facebook page.
I think we can put it on Jenks Lake Facebook, but I don't represent the company
right
that I work for running it. I'm just a guy, here. So, although their interests are in getting it fixed too, and they're aware of it and support me in whatever that can be done, but it's got to be done by the books. I got a lot of the retired sheriff up here is a buddy of mine, and a lot of Forest Service working guys, and they go up and help too. But we need a lot done. I mean, I think it's because of this last fire, and there's so much debris. It needs major. That's why I said I keep thinking those hotshot guys who do push-ups for breakfast.
Shoot, I'd like to get like that. I've been hitting the gym every single day, and I hope to be one of those guys eventually, but I highly doubt it.
I got a workout routine for you.
Oh man,
and I don't charge much either.
Yeah. The other thing I've been trying to do too is I've been trying to see some of the major Fortune 500 companies are always looking for some kind of conservation donation as well. So
fishing magazines, people, these gazillionaires, read these things these pristine things. I mean, it's the nicest place in the San Bernardino National Forest. I mean, hands down. I mean, that's my humble opinion, but it's shared by many. And some buddy out there wants a good tax write-off. I think I'm, more money than they need. Well, yeah, let them do it.
I'd love to do that. And that's why
those guys are looking for tax write-offs, right?
Yeah, and there's some people like I think that this is probably going to get done, just in my opinion, just because a lot of those guys like to buy things and say that they buy things, and I believe, since it is something that I think at the end of the day, just my opinion, it's going to be done with $5 and $10 donations from multiple people that love that lake. That's just my opinion. It doesn't mean it's right, but that's right. Why if you can get enough people to pitch in $5 or $3 or $4 at a time,
maybe on a some government level. I mean, it's a historical site, and there is water for it.
Oh, there's water for it. It just needs love.
It needs love. I mean, one of the easier fixes than a lot of problems that they're faced with, I'm sure.
Yeah. And the other thing that we have to realize too is that at the end of the day, because I actually looked a little bit. I mean, I haven't dug too deep, but normally you can look up where money's been allocated from the general fund, and nothing's been allocated. So obviously they're looking to see if the federal government will do it, since it's a national forest.
I wonder if they just take what it would cost to pay 20 hotshots for, let's say, 2 weeks. That would be nothing. Comparative budgets necessary for doing other projects. I mean, that's just manpower, and should be under fire code, just for fire prevention.
I do like the CDF, the local prison doing it. I love that idea, but one of the things going back to that question is, again, even though they are technically free labor, they are not, because you actually have to pay the prison to bring the people out because of the amount of, you'd have to bring out guards, and you'd have to bring out the silly bus, and then they get 3 meals a day, and then you have to put them up in camps, and you have to secure the camps. And I mean, it's just, so the red tape on that, I'd love to see the prisoners do it. That would be amazing and awesome. I just don't. I don't know if that's going to happen.
The hot shots, because it's in the firefighters' best interests. It could be saving lives by having some of these little fires that get started during the summer, that not turning into big ones. Which costs lives.
It costs property. Costs
property damage.
Yeah.
Lives are the main concern. People's livelihoods, their homes, and things.
Yeah, I mean,
you would think somebody would, say, "Oh yeah."
You know what? I think it's just, and one reason why I have you come on is because you have direct knowledge of it. I mean, I'm just a silly quack on YouTube and Facebook, screaming and yelling about a lake I used to go to as a kid.
Well, yeah, and I think it's great. Everybody has their purpose and place, and if we work together in it, and use our own resources and whatever's available to us, that's how you make things happen.
It's absolutely. And this one thing, I was talking to my buddy Matt. He's actually going to be one of my guests later on this thing. Matt, I don't know if you know Matt Norman, but Matt actually goes up there a lot. Or used to go up there a lot. He used to fish off the pier all the time and pull trout out all the time. And he even stated the same thing you did to me today was, man, I mean, why hasn't the fire department done anything about it? And I think the answer is, realistically, I think your answer about the red tape is there's not enough awareness out there, enough people shouting and yelling for them to cut the red tape. And that's the goal.
The water is owned by, I think it's Bear Water or something in Big Bear, and the Forest Service is in charge of what goes on in the forest and the land and that, but they don't like each other. They don't have a good relationship. So getting anything done, there's no harmony. There's always resistance. But in the meanwhile, people like you and me and everybody else who comes up and lives up here suffers the consequences.
Yeah, I mean, even the Santa Ana River isn't running like it used to, because it's just not maintained. I mean, that allows to do the Forest Service, but once again, it's just a matter of, that's why I'm trying to raise, you and I in this case are just trying to raise the awareness level up. So if enough people start screaming and yelling, maybe somebody will go, hey, you know what? This ain't a bad idea. Let's do that. And then for any of the volunteers, I mean, if anybody thinks I'm not serious, whatever money I raise out of this is going to go to helping the volunteers that are actually going up there and doing it. When's the next time they're going up there, Bob? Probably around March or April?
Well, I'm going to be working again in April, and I'm not going to request that I have a lot of time, spent on the cleaning up of the bowl itself. And getting water back in and getting it prepared for that. But I'm always, I've been going up there for years on my own time, digging it out with friends of mine. Yep. I get friends, small crews to go up there, no big advertisement. We just go up and fix it.
Yeah.
But it's beyond that. It's beyond like, 3 guys and an afternoon to kill to go up there and get it fixed anymore.
No, I remember the video you sent me. I don't have it on because I had it on my other phone that fell into Lake Sabrina. But I remember you sent me some video, I think a year ago, and the guys that were working on it, they got about, what did you say, a quarter mile, half a mile in, and I mean, they looked like they were making some progress, and then it just seems like the progress just slowed down.
It did. The water's almost to the road that goes up Poop Out Hill, and this place we call it Slushy Meadows. A lot of reeds, overgrown stuff, and the entire flume is just that all has to be weeded out, dug out, just to get the water flowing to the next stage. And then there's another 3 miles or so flume down to the lake, and I've hiked it up and down. It's pretty treacherous.
Yeah, it didn't look easy on the videos you sent me last year.
Oh, that's not the hard part. The hard part is after it passes the road going down, and that it's very it's pretty rough terrain. So it's not an easy job.
No, it's not. So, well, Bob, I think I took up enough of your time tonight. Does anybody have any more questions? It seems like we got quite a few people on this thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for Bob before I let him go? He's been more than gracious with his time tonight. I'm really appreciative of it.
Oh, I appreciate your concern and efforts. Yeah.
My brother just said, my brother's on this thing. He said, let's get it done. I'll help.
Hey, yeah. That's a lot what it takes. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's not my brother. That's somebody else. I'm sorry, Michael Roberts. That's somebody else.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was my brother. I'm so sorry to apologize. My brother, when you popped up with the cowboy hat, I just went, oh, my brother's on here.
Well, one way, to put people directly in touch with me who's interested, just give them my Facebook page and just have them contact me.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give them.
If anything happens, I'll be at the heart of it.
So what I will do, Bob, is at the when I put this in to video mode after it's all said and done, I already have the fundraiser in the description, and I have Jenks Lake's link as well. What I'll do, if you don't mind, is I'll link your Facebook profile in the description box as well. Would that be okay with you?
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, personally, absolutely, it's okay. I'm just doing this on this part on my own time anyhow. It's not like company stuff. It's nothing official. It's not with the company I work for. But I will say that whatever happens, I'll be at the heart of it there, and I'm a good person to get a hold of.
Another guy just said, hey, make sure you keep us informed on how we can help further. So like I said, there's quite a few people on here. I was actually pretty shocked. That's I appreciate everybody being on here. Yeah, there's.
Well, you seem to be pretty computer savvy and all this kind of stuff. I'm just an old guy who lives up in the woods. But my idea is perhaps all these people can be gathered somehow or another, so we could inform them.
No, I absolutely. So what I'll do is we'll keep in touch, and then I'll put updated videos on not only my YouTube channel, but I'll put updated posts on the Facebook, my Facebook page, and all the groups I'm a part of, and we'll just keep in touch with it and see if we can keep it going.
Sure. Yeah.
And anybody
trying to stir up all kinds of stuff. When the spring starts coming and it starts being work time and that, I'm gonna be like a, sticking a stick in a hornet's nest. I'm gonna try to get stuff happening.
No, absolutely. So anyway, I'll let you go. But
all right.
I appreciate you coming on, Bob, and enjoy your evening, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, bud.
Bye.
What a great guy. Bob is truly, I mean, he didn't have to do it yesterday. I know he lives kind of up there in his motorhome, but he, did not have to take time out of his evening to do this. And I really appreciate it, because technically he's not supposed to be really, that's why I'm careful about the questions, or careful about the things that I talk about on here with him, because I don't want it to cost him his job. So anyway, the next guest I'm going to have is actually a guy named Matt, and I'm going to see if I can get him on the phone. Now, Matt, I worked with Matt for a very long time in the RV business. And as you know, this is mostly an RV channel. But Matt, I'll tell you, there's been honey, what would you say, 2 or 3 occasions where Matt's just happened to be at Jenks Lake at the same time we are. It's craziness. I think, when was it, August, that we ran into him? You think so? So August, we run in, the lake's low as hell. We're out in the middle of the raft, and we see this big dude, and Matt's a tall, big dude. And we see someone tall and big out in the pier. And I'm like, that guy it looks like Matt. But I wasn't quite sure, because, obviously you don't want to go up to somebody and go, "Hey, Matt," and then all of a sudden they don't respond. You're like, "Ooh, I feel like an idiot." So what's funny, though, is that his wife, Teresa, recognized my wife and saw my wife, and I'm like, "Aha, that is Matt." And he commented how low the lake was, and then he got into truck driving. So I'm gonna see if I can get a hold of him right now, and just so you guys can get a perspective from somebody who goes there a lot. And then the last 2 guests are going to be another couple people I know of that go to that lake consistently, and just get their perspective as well. So let's see if we can get a hold of him. Beware, he might call me Junior. That's kind of a nickname that they all gave me, besides the honey badger. I don't think he's offloaded his trailer.
Your call has been forwarded.
Yeah, I haven't. He hasn't offloaded his trailer. Okay, I got a backup, so we'll call Archie. Now, I'll give you a little thing into Archie. Archie, so my birthday, 2020, in the middle of the COVID pandemic, my wife asked me what I want to do, and I'm like, I'll just take a day trip and go up to Jenks Lake, and love my family to death because their asses wake up at 4 a.m. so we can get to Jenks Lake right as it opens at 7. It takes us 3 hours. I'm a crap driver, so I take the turns really fast, and my wife gets car sick, and they all have to take Dramamine and everything before we go up there, because she's sitting here giving me that grin like, yeah, that's pretty much what we have to do. And Archie met me up there with his kids, and if you looked at one of the video that I did on this, if you get a chance to look at it, actually some of the pictures, it's Archie and his kids. And they've gone up with us twice, and their kids caught their first fish ever at Jenks Lake as well. So very exciting. So I'm going to get him on the phone. Let me see if he answers. I know everybody's pretty busy, so I knew I was going to be hit or miss. And then I got a 2 surprise guests after this. You ready to rock and roll, boss? So I got you on speaker.
Okay.
And here's what we talked with Bob a little bit earlier, the guy who actually, if you remember Bob, the guy with the white hair that ran the lake, that we ran out of there on my birthday because we were like 3 minutes away. Hey, so give me a little bit about how you and your kids enjoy that lake. I mean, what experiences did you guys enjoy?
I think, well, I mean, when you look at it, from the grand scheme of things, the kids have, they've gone fishing before, right? I think what they liked about this lake, other than any other lakes, is that it was a little bit more kind of like secluded in a way, smaller, but yet they loved the scenery, with the woods in the background, and then also having to go on the lake, being on a raft boats. I think that right there was instantly their favorite, so I think I think that's probably the biggest attraction out of it, and for me, I liked it. I mean, it was just an awesome place, relatively close location from just about anywhere in SoCal, and not as busy too. Got a lot of times it's fighting to get a spot. So I like that about that place.
It's interesting. When I took you to Bishop, we went on float tubes on Lake Sabrina. I don't think I could have gotten you on a float tube unless we did that raft thing.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of true. That is kind of true, because what happened after that, I mean, it really piqued my interest. I mean, how I'm just barely getting into fishing, and starting, as easy as trying different fishing lines, different baits, and then I mean, getting on the raft, and then piqued my interest on wanting to do more, try, and then of course, float tubes was a big part of it. So yeah, I think it is. I think with your family and our family, getting out there together, I think that was a big part of it too. Getting our kids to like one another, befriend each other, and hey, man, you and I go back a few years, so it's fun to get out there when it's outside of work.
Probably one of the best things about the first time you went up there with us is when your daughter didn't want to get on the raft. Remember that? She hated getting on that thing, and your son was just all gung ho. And it's like
No, I was just going to say, remember how at the end of the day she finally got her courage and wanted to go on the boat.
Yeah, man, it was crazy.
Yeah, I think that was part of why we were running to get out of there, because they were running behind on time.
Oh yeah, we had a my wife's sitting next to me going, yeah, I remember we had a bust butt to get the hell out of there. It was crazy.
Oh my God, that was panic.
But then it's interesting because the second time, and this is just the stories that you develop from a lake like this, is the second time we went, all of a sudden she's like, she wants to be the first one on the boat. Let's go. I want to go. Yeah. Let's go. Can I get on the boat?
Well, and even before that, planning that trip, the second trip, they were all in. And because they remembered the lake, they remember the scenery, they remember running around, having a good time, the fishing, being on the boat. So getting them, ready for that day, I mean, it was so easy. They were, when I got up and got everything ready to go, it was early in the morning. Getting them up as soon as I told them, hey, it's time to go fishing, they were out of the bunks, out of their bunk beds, and they were ready to go. They knew exactly where they were going to go, and they knew that they were going to have a good time.
See, it's a little different with my kids because my kids love going fishing with us and everything, but there's a such thing as, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, because you live a lot closer than I do. I mean, it takes us 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
I'm a psycho. I get up at 4 a.m. and start my day.
Sure.
And even you figured out when I'm ready to rock and roll up in Bishop, it's like I'm up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and it's like I want to get up there before anybody else does, and that's just my mentality of it. But
right.
they have to take their Dramamine. But one of the things the reason I wanted to get a couple folks in, some of my friends' perspective as well, was because everybody needs to understand it's not just about fires. It's not just about, what else would Bob and I talk about? The ecology up there, all the fish, it's actually a main food source for a lot of the birds up there with all the fish that were in the lake. In fact, Bob just confirmed with me while we were talking that there's no more fish. The bass are all dead. And the only thing he thinks that might be up there is the catfish because they can bury themselves in a mud hole and live forever.
Oh,
So that's sad because there were some monster, beautiful bass in that lake.
yeah. Well, the last trip, our last trip up there with you guys, that's all we were catching, right? I mean, pretty much bass and maybe a couple trout. But yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, and I think for a lot of locals, especially, they've been going there for years, like you. A lot of memories, with your family, your dad going up to that lake. Me starting out with my kids. I know if I was to tell them that, hey, we're going to have to go to a different lake because Jenks Lake is dried out, essentially, that it's not going to go well. They like going there. They want to keep on going.
Yeah, they all four played really well together. I mean, Kachuma, we go to Kachuma Lake, you've gone with us as well, and that's just as fun, but it's just it's a different animal because Kachuma Lake's so crowded. And I've tried to do Bishop once with my kids, and it unfortunately Joanna gets really car sick, and that's a 6-hour drive, and the 3 hours is about the tops for my kids. And like Kachuma's closer, but Jenks Lake, it's like we can go up there for a day, and then by the time, it's funny, everybody's pooped out, but by the time we get home or get on the road and get a little something to eat, grab a little McDonald's or whatever we're doing, and come back to Ventura, they're knocked out in the back of the car. Or if Joanna wants to talk the whole way home, like she normally does, then she conks out when she gets home. So it's a win-win because it gets them away, it gets them something new and something beautiful. Get them out of the house. So I think just talking about your family and mine, as well as talking to some other folks would really help out with the family issue. But
I hope so. Yeah, I hope there's enough people that that you create enough audience to make a difference. Hopefully there is hope on the way. I don't know how long that lake has been there, but
since 1870.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that is something. And you talk about the crowds, having to fight for a spot. I mean, my closest lake would be Irvine Lake, and it's just I don't even want to go because I just don't want to deal with the amount of people that are there. Jenks Lake, I could be there in an hour and a half, and it's not a whole lot of planning like it is to go to Kachuma. You can be up there in an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then fish all day. And like I said, same thing with my kids. They love everything that we did the first time around. We repeated everything that we did on the second trip. Even like you had mentioned, stopping off at McDonald's on the way home, right outside the lake. And it's a good place to bond with your families, but also a good place to get out, enjoy the scenery. Get out of, even if it's, just to get out of work for a day and just, get out of town. What better place to go?
Exactly.
That's local,
Well said. All right, my man. Well, I'll let you go. I know you got work to do, family to feed. So I appreciate you coming on, dude.
All right, man.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Take it easy.
You.
All right, bud.
Bye.
So that's a perspective of a guy. So Archie, I've gotten him pretty much into the outdoors lately, and that's just a perspective of somebody that doesn't do this very often. And one thing before I bring my last two interesting guests, my last ones, is the RV perspective of this. So you got Barton Flats Campground. You've got a lot of dry camping up in the area. So everywhere off Highway 38, if you have a wilderness pass, I think they still call it a wilderness pass. I'll have to look that one up. But you can dry camp, pull off the side and dry camp. Now you can't dump your tanks, obviously. I've seen some people do that, unfortunately. But you know, this is such an important lake for that region because it brings campers. It's a backwoods area that isn't Lake Arrowhead or Big Bear Lake or Green Valley Lake, where it's elbow to elbow people. Does the pier get crowded? Yeah, it gets a little crowded because everybody likes to fish off the pier, but the rest of the lake is just absolutely gorgeous. And there were, up until like we had just talked with Bob earlier, there were bass and bluegill, and I know he doesn't think so, but there are crappie in there, and catfish, and to hear that the majority of the fish are gone and wiped out, that's sad because those bass, they were growing. We saw some monster, nice, beautiful bass. Now, obviously, monster for up there is 2, 3, 4 pounds. But good fighters, they'll break and snap the line on you. They're not that easy to lip and catch, even with frog lures and Texas rigs. And then it's sad for me. It really is. It's a very, very sad thing because if they don't do something, and you have to understand what I mean by don't do something. Obviously, at some point, they're going to drag. If there's not enough awareness and not enough people screaming and yelling and jumping up and down and saying, "Hey, what the hell?" They're going to take their time because remember this: when a government or a company pulls a lever on something, some of them have the foresight to know what the lever is that you pull afterward, the after effects of that lever. Okay. So some of them don't. So what I'm trying to raise awareness on is you pulled the lever of not fixing the flume or not fixing the inlet during the pandemic, right when you had a perfect time to do it in 2020, after the fire, everything else. You could have cut the red tape and done it and gotten it done in 6 months and it'd be done and deal. But instead it's lingered, and now it's lingered to where it's dry. Now there are or drying up, I should say. Now, like Bob and I talked about earlier on this, is there is some positives in that he can clean it. It can get cleaned out and make the fishing a little bit easier. But just imagine, I mean, that largemouth bass population is going to be gone. That crappie and bluegill population that was a lot of fun to catch is going to be gone. Very sad. You could have done both at the same time, especially with the lockdown. You probably could have done it then, cut the red tape, get to it. But nobody, just like he said, it's like one side doesn't want to get along with the other in some respects of the ownership of the lake and of course the National Forest Service. So the more of us that make aware of this, share it on social media, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I mean, I'm going to donate a lot portion of my time on YouTube to gain this awareness out there. So I'm going to give you guys 2 little guests that I want you to hear it from their perspective. Can you grab them? And the reason why I want you to get it from their perspective is because at the end of the day, it's about them. I mean, there's of course me. I love fishing and everything, but it's so much better to have it from a child's perspective, because when you have 2 children, and you parents, you understand this, that they love to do something with you. You only get that for so long, and my daughters are turning. Here they come. Come on, you 2. Stop giggling. Come over here. Come here. Have a seat. No, you get on the bad knee. Hold on. You get on the bad knee. You're lighter. Over here. There we go. Okay. You can get on the good knee. Okay. So you guys got to speak into the microphone, okay? See the microphone right there?
Yeah.
So this is my daughter Brenda, and this is my daughter Joanna.
Hi.
And where did you guys now tell these folks, where did you catch your very first fish? What lake?
Jenks Lake, yeah?
Yeah.
And what was your first fish you caught at Jenks Lake?
I remember.
I think mine was a trout.
Yours was a trout.
I think
yes.
my sister's was the biggest my sister caught was a catfish.
That was the biggest she caught, but you both first caught it, your first trout at Jenks Lake, right?
Yeah,
and where did you catch it?
Near the middle of the lake.
In what?
In a boat.
In a raft.
In a raft.
In a
a
raft.
That ain't no boat, sweetheart. I gotta row it. When you have to row it, that's a raft. Okay. So tell me, guys, the last time we went to Jenks Lake, were you guys upset to see it so low?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't much fish. There was this one catfish, and at least we found one of the fish we caught last time. We think it was.
There wasn't many fish.
Yeah, and
It
that
was
was.
very low.
Yeah, and that was a little upsetting. So
I was very sad about it because
Don't speak into the mic.
I was really upset about it because there were fish in the lake and fish are alive, and I like eating fish too.
I know you like eating fish, but don't you guys like playing there too?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's
beautiful.
fun.
I
Yeah.
know,
It's so much fun.
and it was
There are
just
blue
sad
jays.
to see it.
There's
so
a lot
low.
of blue jays.
So what if I told you, because I haven't told you girls this yet, but what if I
What?
told you girls that we probably won't be able to go up there this year because there's no water?
What?
There's
What-
no water in the
What
lake.
happened?
Well, that's what Daddy's been trying to raise awareness for. I've been keeping it very quiet and just with Mom is the only one that's really known. But I've been trying to raise awareness that, well, you know, that little inlet that feeds the lake that's over by the pier.
Yes.
Okay, it's broken. So they have
Oh.
there's they're dragging their feet to try to fix it, and between remember that guy that had the long white hair that told you about how great that catfish was.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, so he's up there and he came on with me earlier and talked a lot about, the reason why it should be there for fire purposes and, all that stuff that I'll recap at the end. But, it would make you guys sad that we couldn't go up there. Usually we go up there, what, twice?
Yeah.
So it would make you upset?
Yeah.
Yes, very. And also, there are so many beautiful fish.
Like
and very tasty.
Also, there are blue jays.
And
I love blue jays. And
There are blue jays, aren't
squirrels.
there? And squirrels, yeah. And those blue jays don't have any fish to eat.
Yeah. They'll
or,
die.
or the ducks. I've seen ducks there.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think they're swans. I think.
Yes, swans.
Some type of
Storks.
Storks.
There's storks.
The
and
storks are.
There's a eagle and a couple of eagles up there too.
Yeah.
And now they have no.
The mountains are
Food.
beautiful as well.
I know they are, aren't they? All those green. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if there's barely no water in Jenks Lake, then that means the green might go. And
Well, I don't think the green will go, Brenda, but if there's a fire up there, it would be very tough for them to fight it with a helicopter because they'd have to go up to the top of the mountain to Big Bear Lake or around the east side to Arrowhead to grab the water to bring it over to that side. It's actually the only lake or body of water for the fire department to come down. Remember how we used to see the helicopters come down and pick up the water out of the lake? Yeah, it's the only body of water up there that's like that.
oh my
So,
gosh.
I know.
That's exciting.
Well,
Yeah.
you guys can go play now. But thank you very much for being
You're
here.
welcome.
You're welcome.
All right, go on. And my beautiful wife's been sitting here. Why don't you come over here? Come on over here. No? She says no. Okay. So, I just want to recap. And again, I appreciate everybody that watches. I got a lot of actual messages and comments on my social media platforms saying that, that they'll watch this recap once it's recapped. And, again, it's all about the camping. It's all about the fishing. It's all about RVing. But at the same time, we have to conserve these natural resources because at the end of the day, that's all we got left. I mean, I want you guys to think about this as you're looking this year. We've been through so much crap this year, or crap last year, and so much crap the year before. All this negativity on the media, all this negativity everywhere. Everywhere you look, somebody's negative. And this is one of those positive things here, especially in a state that sometimes doesn't know what it wants to do, whether it wants to do a vaccine mandate, whether it doesn't want to. I'm not here to debate that, but what I am here to tell you is that this is one of those places that get you away from all the negativity. And, to hear that you're getting pretty much to the point where it's a red tape issue and everybody wants to drag their feet, it makes it upsetting. You know, these lakes, and this is not just for Jenks Lake. Jenks Lake is just specifically what I'm talking about. But for the forests, like, if the eastern Sierra Nevada mountains, the western side, at Lake Isabella, go as far as Cachuma Lake up in Santa Barbara, Piru, Archie just mentioned Irvine Lake. Just everybody has this red tape mentality of not taking care of the most precious natural resource that we have. We have to survive with fresh water, and we take it so for granted. We want to talk about droughts and problems with conserving water on lawns and crap like that, but yet the one body of water that can help you fight a fire up in probably one of the most beautiful green mountainsides in the San Bernardino Mountains, and you don't want to take care of it instantaneously. You want to cross red tape. I'm sorry. To me, that's unacceptable. And, as much as I don't try to have an opinion too much, I try to give you the facts. My opinion is this is just horse manure. And that's why I've been trying to work and find somebody to help with this. So, if you are a podcaster, if you're anybody who loves wildlife, you love conservation, please make sure that you share this live stream. I'm going to update it and post it to my channel. You're already on it. Please